Well, greetings one, greetings all. Coming to you from my den because there's nothing going on with ThunderToad. So the last video you saw me working on the carburetor, and I rebuilt the carburetor. I used my sonic cleaner to clean it, and I'll tell you what, that was amazing. That carburetor was pretty bad, and it looks brand new. So I thought, great, we're good to go. Brand new carburetor. Let's put a brand new rebuild kit in it, and let's get this puppy running. Well, I did that, and it started, and it ran, but it was idling really high, even though I had the throttle plate butterfly completely shut. It was just running at way higher RPMs than it should be. With the throttle plate completely shut, that thing should just be barely just blub 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 blub. And this thing was like, wah. So I thought, okay, it's got to be something with the governor. So, because there's like 4 springs and levers and stuff like that that hook up to that governor, and I've had other engines before and I bypassed or eliminated the governor, and I've never had a problem. So I thought, okay, I'll do that now. So I bypassed the governor, just eliminated all the linkage and springs and whatnot, and just to make sure I did everything right, I took apart the carburetor again and just double checked myself. Everything was good there. Initial settings on my mixture screw were good. So I put it all back together without the governor installed. Fired right up. Idling way too fast. So that tells me that the passages inside the carburetor body itself are worn out to the point where the needles on the jets can't meter the fuel properly. And this more than likely happens from using ethanol gas in a small engine. Ethanol is very corrosive, and over time it will eat away at the aluminum in the passages and the little ports and whatnot of a carburetor, and it'll actually get those out of tolerance and out of spec, and then things just don't breathe right, or they don't flow right, or whatever. So I have no option but to buy a new carburetor. Now, the reason I think the unit was running before, because you saw me drive it off the trailer. I drove it at the seller's house. I'm not going to fault him at all for this. He didn't know. You saw me drive it in the driveway, and it was manageable. The reason I think that was because it was running so rich that at any given time that engine was about ready to stall out. So that naturally forces your RPMs down because the motor's chugging and lugging. I had all kinds of trouble. I had to play with the choke lever and try to find a sweet spot just to get the thing to run halfway decent, and shouldn't have to do that. Now that the carb is squeaky clean, now flow rates aren't right. So yeah. So I called, or I shouldn't say I called, I looked up on the Briggs & Stratton site. It's a Briggs & Stratton 12 horse opposed cylinder. Not a V-twin per se, but like a boxer engine. I looked up on the website for a complete rebuilt or complete new carburetor. They no longer sell the original part number carburetor. It subs over to a different carburetor called a Nikki carburetor, Nikki, and $260. So I go on to Amazon and eBay. I'm finding that exact same carburetor for 40 bucks. Complete. Even comes with, some of the sellers are even sending along 2 fuel filters, a jet cleaning tool, multi-tooled with brushes and files and little picks to clean out your jet passages and stuff like spark plugs. Some are selling them with spark plugs for 45 bucks. Free shipping. I'm like, well, what the heck? So I ordered one. I don't have Amazon Prime, so it won't be here until July 30th. So that means I can't use the machine. And here I took Monday off. It's a weekend. And I took Monday off anticipating going out and playing with it, you know, because it's going to be a lot cooler. We got a hot spell coming through this weekend. It's in the upper 80s and 90s. So then Monday is supposed to drop down in the 70s, and I thought, oh, perfect day to go wheeling. Yeah, guess not. So then I thought, well, got to be productive. So a friend of mine wants me to fix her boat. She got a boat, traded a boat for a garden tractor for a lawnmower. It's got a 25 horse 7 root on it. It's a 16-foot aluminum, just a fishing boat, you know, kind of deal. And previous owner had it running on spray, but it wouldn't run on gas. So I ended up having to go out and get a new fuel line for the gas for the tank. I had to take the pickup assembly out, clean that. I had to make a new gasket for underneath that pickup assembly on the tank. I did kind of a general carb cleaning. Installed a battery box for the battery that we bought. Mounted a ignition switch module box on the seat for them to use to start the motor. I got it running. The fuel pump, the reason it wouldn't run, well, there's several reasons. Number one, there was a fuel hose that went underneath the engine from the intake, from the hose over to the carburetor on the other side, or the fuel pump on the other side, and that was all dry rotted and cracked and sucking air. So the squeeze bulb wouldn't prime. The fuel line itself from the tank to the engine with the squeeze bulb was so brittle I was afraid if I bent it, it would snap. So I took the fuel pump apart, and it's a diaphragm style impulse fuel pump, and somebody had been in there before and put it together wrong. So even if I did put all the new hoses on, it still wouldn't run. So I reassembled that correctly, and I got it running. Mixture screws were way out of whack, so I adjusted those, got it running great. Just sat there and idled, blah, 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 blah. High revved the way it should. And when I was testing it and whatnot, I had it, the motor's older, so you can't put muffs on it, ear muffs on it to run water for the cooling. So I actually submerged it in a garbage can full of water. And I noticed there was no water coming out of the pee hole. and I saw the engine was starting to get hot, so I shut it down, and here the water pump doesn't work at all. So I imagine the impeller assembly in there is all dry rotted rubber and it's just all grenaded. Doesn't work. Well, that's where the buck stops. I'm not gonna deal anymore with that. She can send it off to a mechanic that can get the parts and has the right tools and everything and the knowledge to do that. That's not going to be my thing. So at least I had a productive day. But so yeah, I'm going to clean it up and finish up a few things. They got a leaky tire on the trailer, but they got a good spare. So I'm going to mount the new tire on and put some slime in the spare and mount that on the trailer for them. Put a new winch rope on. So it was a productive day, even though it was a failure. So I'm kind of bummed right now. This weekend was supposed to be spent with ThunderToad, going out and playing. And she sits in the shop waiting for a new set of lungs. So yeah, that's just an update on what's going on. So if the carb gets here, I'll film that, putting it on and hooking it up. We're gonna have to custom modify the throttle now, because the original throttle was hooked up to all that linkage crap for the governor, and now I'm just hooking the throttle right straight to the carburetor. So I'm gonna have to custom fabricate some mounting brackets and stuff like that to hold the cable, but I'm good at that, so it should be all right. So tomorrow, if it's a little cooler, we're supposed to have rain. A friend of mine stopped by and told me about a trout fishing lake that he discovered. So I might go take a run in the morning and check that out and maybe do a little fishing. I don't think I'll take any boat or anything. I think I'll just wade fish the shore, maybe, see what happens. So until then, catch you on the flip side.